welcome to another edition of PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. Before we get started with today's video, I do have an announcement that I need to make regarding a series here on the channel. After giving it much thought and looking over some of the data, I have decided that My Hero Academia Vows of Vengeance is going to be going on hiatus following part 4 next week. Now, I understand that there are some who are into the series, and for those, I do apologize. However, the series has not been performing in the way that I feel it should, and I don't think continuing would be in the best interest of the channel. That is why a new series is going to be taking its place, and the part 1 you will see later on this afternoon. The part 1 for the series that is going to be taking the Wednesday slot. Next Wednesday, you'll get the final part for Vows of Vengeance Season 2 in the morning, and in the afternoon, you'll get the part 2 of the video that's going to be taking its place going forward. I do apologize in advance. I feel like I've been doing this a lot this year, but honestly, it's for the best. Like I've said before, I want to make content that you guys will enjoy and be engaged in. And seeing how it's been doing, I don't think people like the series very much. So it's better to cut ties while I'm ahead than try to keep going with something that's just not going to work. So again, I do apologize, and I hope you understand with where I'm coming from going forward. You are going to be getting this video here today, and there will be another video coming out later on this afternoon. The video that comes out in the afternoon, that is going to be the series that will take the Wednesday slot going forward next week. I do apologize in advance, and I hope you will all understand. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into today's video. As always, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hey kid, why are you just standing there? You gonna do something? Huh? Aang would find himself back in front of the market once more, with Rem beside him. He had died. The world. All he remembered was frozen darkness. The attack, the mansion. He couldn't afford to stay here. He immediately would escort Rem back to where they were staying in the capital. After doing so, he would tell her that they had to go back to the mansion right away, and they needed to take the fastest route. The fastest route would have them go by Fugel's tree, although they had a warning about going into that area. However, for Aang in that moment, it didn't matter. The people, the village, the mansion, they all needed his help. Otherwise, they were going to die. Aang couldn't fail them. Taking him at his word, both Aang and Rem would take a dragon carriage, following with a convoy that was going through that area. Just merchants and other sellers, among them being a young man named Otto, who had incurred a large amount of oil that he had a hard time getting rid of. As they went throughout the night, as they came across Fugel's tree, an overwhelming sense of worry washed over Aang. There was so much he wasn't sure of, so many things that he couldn't possibly be made aware. What would he do when he got there? They'd probably have to evacuate everyone as soon as possible, or maybe he could cut off the cultists at the pass, although he had no idea where they could possibly be coming from. Judging from how he had found them and how they had progressed, they came from somewhere in the south, he believed. Maybe he could catch them ahead of time. If he remembered correctly, it had taken them 4 days to arrive. By this, they would arrive there in about 2.5, maybe 3 days' time. It would give him just a day to have preparations made. It was cutting it close, but that was the best he could do in this situation. However, things would not go as Aang would have hoped. As a fog would begin to roll in among the convoy, making the road almost impossible to see, even with the lamps tied next to the carriage. The dragon riders having a hard time seeing what was happening as they grew deathly silent. Aang and Rem attempted to see what was going on. However, what greeted them on the side was nothing but a large looming eye. Rem would be terrified, mentioning that it was the white whale, one of the 3 great maw beasts. For Aang, he couldn't believe it. Another maw beast of this magnitude? He attempted to use his airbending to move the fog out of the way as best he could, and it worked for some time. However, it wouldn't last long, as it still continued to envelop them. Rem would try to help where she could, even attempting to throw off the whale, much to Aang's chagrin. In the midst of the fog, Rem would become lost, Aang trying his best to find her. In doing so, he would lose all track of her as the white whale continued its assault. Aang would grab his glider, prepared to go after her, telling Io what he planned to do, but Io looked at him confused. Who was Rem? Aang didn't understand. Rem, the girl that was with them, but Io didn't remember any girl. It had only just been them this whole time. There was no convoy. For Aang, he couldn't understand what was going on until... No. Was this the power of the white whale? Was its fog erasing people from existence? This just sounded completely impractical, improbable even. How is this even happening? They became swallowed up in the fog as Aang would use his glider, trying to pull Io out. However, he too would be swallowed in the veil. Aang attempting to fly away. To the best of his ability, he wasn't sure what he could do. He found himself flying in a daze, unsure of where he was going and of how he was going to escape. Aang would be enveloped in the fog as everything faded and soon turned black. Before he knew it, he found himself in a plane of existence that he couldn't recognize. It was dark all around him, and everything looked blurry and vague. However, off in the distance, he could make out the shape of someone. A girl. Her clothing, it seemed reminiscent. He had never seen it before, but yet he felt like he knew her. He could see her to his right, but to his left he saw someone else. The clothing, while blurry and vague, also seemed familiar. It was the silhouette of a man, his clothing a dark shades of red, the girl wearing a variety of blue. As he searched and looked further, he saw figures clad in orange and yellow, of shades of green, repeating in a cycle over and over again. The vestige of blue turned towards Aang. You abandoned us. You abandoned all of us. I'm all that's left. What? What are you talking? You abandoned us. For 100 years, we needed you. My mother, they're all gone. There's no hope. They're all gone. Aang would see visions. What was once the air nomad temple. He felt like he were standing right there, but it wasn't his body. Like he were looking through the eyes of someone else. He saw the skeletons, the burn marks, what remained. Gyatso. All of them. They're all gone. They're all gone. They're all gone. No. No. No, this can't be. No. It is the truth. You abandoned them, Aang. They are gone. The air nomads are no more. You are all that remain. The world has forgotten you. Aang would see horrible images. The burns. He could hear the screams, the wails, the shrieks. But not just of the adults. The cries of children as flame engulfed them. The sound of his friends. The sound of Gyatso's last stand. He could hear them all clear and vividly. His mind began to break as if they were playing on loop. And then finally he heard a voice. It's all your fault. You never loved them. You were selfish. You were selfish, and you gave into your own desires. And now, these are your consequences. Aang would awaken once again, finding himself in the same spot. However, after everything he had seen, after everything he experienced, there was no resistance. He almost seemed catatonic. Rem would take him back to their lodging to rest. Felix tried to look over him, but he could find nothing wrong. It wasn't him physically, it was his mental state. It was shattered for whatever reason. By the time he regained consciousness, deep down, Aang had already come to a decision. It was a truth that he had wanted to accept for a while now. It was something he always knew deep down within his own heart. However, he often hid it, oftentimes not allowing it to truly fester to the surface. For Aang, he was tired of struggling. He had already come to that point, and he knew what he had to do. Rem would follow behind Aang as they walked to a quiet place in the capital. You know, Rem, I've been thinking. I've kind of been much of a burden to you guys ever since I got here. I'm already an outsider, and I have no way of knowing how this world works and the full-on lay of the land, as it were. It's fine, Aang. You've been adjusting quite well, and that's why I've been thinking. I've been thinking maybe it's time I struck out on my own. And I was wondering if you'd want to come with me. Really? Rem would say, with her face turning bright red. I mean, yeah, I don't really know much about everything myself, and I don't know about you, but I kind of get the sense that maybe you'd want to see what else the world has to offer. I mean, I do need to learn how to use earth and fire. Maybe I can find a master out there somewhere that can teach me. I mean, I don't know where we'd go or what we'd do, but I mean, I think we could figure something out together. Wouldn't that be nice? I mean, of course it would. But what about the others? Don't you think you'd want to see... No, I don't think I need to. Amelia's got her own issues to deal with, and Roswald, he can watch over them. I believe it. We can just send them a message and we can just be on our way. I really just don't want to be here right now, Rem. So if it's alright with you, let's just get out of here. It's all so sudden. I really hadn't fully thought this out, but I never thought you'd be so presumptuous to ask. It's fine. Really, it's fine. You don't have to worry about it. Come on, please, let's just go. I just want to forget. I don't really care about being the Avatar anymore, or anything like that. There's another one. Well, I'm sure there's another one. So I don't really... Aang, you don't sound like yourself. I'm fine. Really, I'm fine. I just need to get out of here, okay? What's the matter? If there's something wrong, then you can tell me. It's fine. Really, I promise you it's alright. But don't you think the others might be in trouble? From my feeling, wouldn't you want to go and... I just don't. Rem, I don't belong here. I never did. And I accept that. Please. I don't know much of anything. I know I'm a real bumbling idiot at times, but I know I could get through anything if you were at least there with me. Please. It might not be much of a life, but we could make it together. I know we could. I know at the very least I'm strong enough to protect us. I know we'd be safe. We could be just fine. I'm sure of it. Rem would move to Aang, trying to figure out what was causing him to act like this. He didn't want to think about it anymore. About everything he had seen, everything he had done, the horrible truth he had to accept. He just wanted to forget it all, to leave it behind. Rem, please. You give me too much credit. I'm an awful person. I know I am. But I know I could be good enough for you. We don't... Aang, what's the matter? Why are you like this? This isn't like you. This isn't the Aang I... And what do you know? Huh? Tell me. What do you know about me? What do you really know about me? You don't know anything. You don't know a damn thing about me. I'm not from this world. I'm not supposed to be here. If you knew the things I've done, you wouldn't look at me with such reverence. You'd hate me. I know you would. I'd never hate... Yes, you would. You would. If you knew. If you knew what type of horrible person I was. If you knew about the things I've done. Rem. I'm a coward. I'm a horrible, pathetic coward. That's what I am. The only thing I've done is doom everyone that gets involved with me. Aang, they're all dead. That's what. Don't bother asking how. Even if I could tell you, you'd never understand me. No one here can. I'm all alone. I've always been. And I deserve it. I let them all die. And it's my fault. It's all my fault. They're all gone. And they're never coming back. Do you know? I ran away. Okay? That's the truth. I ran away. I ran away from my duties. I ran away from my responsibilities. I'm the Avatar. My duty is to protect the world. And when it needed me most, I just vanished. I left it all behind. All because I didn't want to get involved. I didn't want it to be my problem. I was selfish and pathetic. I only cared about myself. I made the worst possible choice. And now everyone that I know and love is paid for it. I can't go back. Rem, don't you understand? Everything that's happened, everything I've gone through, it's the product of my rotten and pathetic character. All because I didn't want to be inconvenienced. How could I ever look anyone in the face and tell them that? Tell them that they've all suffered because I didn't want to be bothered. How could I ever face any of them? I can't. They're all better off without me. It's the truth. Ever since I gotten here, I've gone on and on pretending like I'm some big shot. Like what I say matters, but it doesn't. I'm just an idiot who's way in over his head. I'm not the Avatar. I'm not a master of anything. And I can't take it anymore. Seeing him in that moment, Rem, she was almost overwhelmed. She had never seen Aang like this, the way that he was breaking down. Despite not being able to fully understand everything, she could tell that what he spoke was genuine and true. This was truly what he thought of himself. These were his true feelings in that moment. This burden that had been weighing him down for so long, it had finally broken him. His trials, his tribulations, they were all coming to the forefront. Aang could no longer hide it. He could no longer pretend. The truth was, he ran away. Whatever justification he made for it in his own mind, it couldn't justify all of the wrongs that had come from it. Had he stayed, had he faced his duty the way he was supposed to, things could have been so much different. The world, everything he knew and loved was all gone, burned away. And the only one at fault, the only one that could be left at blame, was himself. There was no one else but him. In that moment, Rem would slowly pull Aang into her arms, holding him close and hugging him, his tears flowing freely, letting go as much emotion as he had held within. She patted his head. It was normally bald, but she could feel that little hairs were starting to grow. She wondered what he looked like with hair. You try so hard. You're so thoughtful and caring. Sometimes I can tell, even when you think no one's looking. It's the little things that you do. Going out of your way to make sure someone's all right. Always trying to keep a smile on everyone's face. The way that you're protective, maybe even overprotective. I don't know what you've been through. I could never know. You might see yourself as a failure, and maybe you did do something wrong. But I can tell that it truly bothers you. You're someone that feels regret and remorse. And even more so, you think that you can't save anyone. You think that you only get everyone hurt. But I don't believe that at all. The Aang that I see, the one in my eyes, he's larger than life. He's someone that I love and admire so much with all of my heart. I couldn't imagine a life without you in it. I know for a fact that beyond anything, out of anyone that I've ever met, if there's someone that I could have faith in, I know it would be you. You proved it when you fought against the mob beast, when you saved me and the children. You fought without any worry for yourself. But that wasn't me. It was you. You think so little of yourself, but tell me, right now, Who else can help? There's no one but you. You're the only one. If you ever feel like there's too much, like it's too much for you to overbear, then you don't have to be alone. You can try again, start over. Start from zero and work your way. You're too good to me. I don't deserve it. Well, that's for me to decide. My love, my time, everything, I give it to you willingly. Because I have the utmost confidence in you. I have faith in you. Even if the world, if everyone should turn against you, know that you'll always have me. Aang would feel an overwhelming sense of warmth, of comfort. In that moment, he felt like he could do anything. As he rubbed his eyes, he couldn't let himself be down. This wasn't how it was going to end. As he quickly went back to the lodging, he would ask for any information on the white whale. Felix would point him in the direction of Wilhelm, the sword master, who had experience with the white whale. Wilhelm was surprised that Aang would ask, as Aang learned the story of how his wife met her end at the hands of the white whale, and how he had spent many years trying to track it. I'm sorry for your loss. I thank you. But I know that the time will come when I will be with my beloved again. And if the day ever comes when I can slay that beast, I will. Tell me, what would be the fastest route to the Roswald Manor and Domain that isn't Fugel's tree? Why do you ask? Well, believe it or not, there's something coming. A group. I don't know who they are. I believe they call themselves the Witch Cultists. They're going to attack the Roswald Domain. And not just that. The white whale will be at this point in just 3 days' time. Wilhelm would be stunned by this news. The coming of the white whale of the witches cult? All of this was too fantastical. And how did Aang know this? I have my sources. You could say that I have a weird way of sensing maw beasts. At least dark energy or something along those lines. I see. So that's why you wish to head back and avoid Fugel's tree. You would be stopped in your journey if you had to come across the white whale, and you need to get back to the manor as quickly as you can. There is one path. It would be a 2 days time trip if you went at full speed. Then that's where I need to go. But I see something else bothers you. It does. Contrary to belief, I have been raised with two conflicting ideals. All my life I was taught to value life itself, to never bring harm or to kill. I see. But the enemy you are going against are not ones that can be reasoned with. And you know that a life must be taken. But you question whether or not you can still maintain your principle and do what must be done. It's said that as the Avatar, it's my duty to bring balance to the world, even if it means taking a life. However, I don't know if I want to be that person. There is nothing wrong with wanting to defend life, my boy. I believe that to turn away in that moment of need is the greatest cowardice that anyone can do. I know, but you must do what your heart feels. If you believe you can save a life and not kill, then by all means. But if you are left with no choice, what decision can you truly make? Aang would think this to himself. In the meantime, Wilhelm was still mulling over the news. You want revenge, don't you? More than ever. Could I ask for your help? I know you work for Miss Cruce, and I get that me supporting Amelia, it means that you and I could be considered rivals, but I believe we may have the same interests. The white whale, from what I've been told, has brought great harm to this land, and its death would be of great benefit to you all, wouldn't it? I suppose it would. But what exactly are you getting at? This village right here, the people need to be evacuated. I don't know how much time you'd have, but if you could make a small caravan, a small escort that could help get the people out while I deal with the cultists, then in return, I'll aid you in your fight against the whale. You've seen what I can do. I know with my power, it would be more than enough to bring it down. What you propose, it does intrigue me, but even though I still have my doubts. It's fine, I completely understand. You have to do what's in your own best interest. But regardless, I know that this is something I can't ignore. I see. There's a spark in your eyes. I can sense your conviction. Wilhelm would pull a sword and give it to Aang. The sword is meant to protect. It is not meant for just senseless killing. I do not know what you will do, but when the time comes, I believe you will know how best to wield this. Aang would take the sword and bow to Wilhelm, before turning and leaving with the Rem. Aang, what are we going to do? I'm not sure. Rem, do you trust me? Of course. We're going to take this path. It's the fastest way to get to the mansion. Granted, we're not going to have much time to rest, and once we get there, we're going to have to hit the ground running. I don't know how, but whatever you can do, I need you to get the people out of the village, as well as get Amelia and the others out of the mansion. Do whatever you have to do, and I'll buy you as much time as I can. What do you plan to do? If my theory's correct, the enemy's going to be coming from the south. I'm going to cut them off before they can get to you all. If I can buy enough time, then I think we'll stand a chance. I'm gonna have to ask for some help. If you don't mind, I'm gonna need you to ride the dragon carriage. Rem would nod, taking the reins and driving them off at once, while Aang would close his eyes and meditate. He entered deep into his mind, into his subconscious, until finally he appeared. It is good to see you again, Aang. Avatar Roku. I see you are dealing with much conflict I am. But right now, there's only one thing I have in mind. I see. These are your intentions. I believe I can be of some help. Although I must say, until you go through the proper training, the help will be limited. You won't have too long in that state. Are you sure? It's fine. I'll only have to use it if it's a last resort. I promise. Very well. Then I will lend you the support that you need when the time comes. If you are willing to face the trials and to accept the risk, then you have our assistance. The preparations would be made. It was a never-ending journey, but they arrived. Aang would be let off as Rim continued on to the village, while Aang would create an air scooter and quickly move down the path towards the south. Aang would make the preparations needed. Once he found that he was well enough away, at least a good 20 miles or so, he would stick the sword that he had been given into the ground. It formed a line in the path. He stood on one side and sat cross-legged and waited patiently. He meditated in silence until the ground began to tremble. The murmuring of the cultists as their leader walked among them. Soon, my brothers, soon. Oh, how my body trembles. I tremble and I feel the embrace of her love. It drives me. It consumes me so. You there, you boy, are you the one? I, the Sin Archbishop of Sloth, Betelgeuse, do bid you a glad of tidings. Tell me, are you pride? Have you received the gospel? Are you the one bathed in the truth? If so, then let this be a day of great merriment. Aang would open his eyes as he stood to his feet. I'm only giving you one chance, Betelgeuse. This sword, if any of you cross it, you will die. Turn back now. Crawl back into whatever dark crevice you came out of. You will never come to this village and you will never harm these people. And you will stay out of my sight. This is your only warning. You do not speak the truth. You do not speak of the love. You dare stand against me when I have her love that makes me tremble. You stand in my way, and you will be the first to die. Seize him! One of the cultists would rush towards Aang immediately. The moment he crossed the sword, a slashing wind would strike him in the chest, causing him to fall to the ground dead. This is not a game, nor is this a request. I have warned you once, I will not warn you again. I stake my claim as the Avatar. You will not pass. The cultists would all stand their ground. Betelgeuse, smiling. You oppose us, pride. It will soon come to pass. Everything will meet its end. I will baptize them all in my love. And you will be the first sacrifice. Aang walked to the sword, standing on the line that he had made. Multiple lights glowing around him. The spirits of the wind standing at his beckoning call. Every spirit that he could summon in that moment. This ends now, Betelgeuse. I will do what I must. Even if it means I go against what I stand for. I will not allow your evil to persist any further. I stake my claim as the Avatar. Today is the day that the cult of the witch fall. This concludes ReZero Avatar Lost. What if Aang was in ReZero? Season 1, Part 5. As always, if you enjoyed today's video and everything else that we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcastings that has to come out now and in the future. Please stay tuned later on today as there will be another video coming out for the new series that's going to be coming to this channel. So stay tuned for that. And also stay tuned for tomorrow's video as we continue Naruto DxD, Rise of the Dragons. What if Naruto was in high school DxD, Season 2, Part 2. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. Signing off, and I'll see you next time.